So just some reminders before we get into the video. First reminder is to make sure that you're keeping an eye out and an ear out for the key word for this lesson. Reminder number 2 is to make sure you're taking notes. Include the date, lesson number, aim, and standards to help you refer back in your notes. Let's get to it.
All right, so welcome back today. We are going to be going over lesson 4. Our aim for today is going to be how can we use our knowledge of percentages to calculate tax and tip in real world situations. So something that you should know about tax and tip is that these two are both an increase in price. So whether you're adding tax based on the state that you're in, or whether you're giving a tip to somebody based on the services that they provided, they're going to be adding to your total amount. So you can kind of think of them as a markup. So you're going to take a percent of the sales amount or the total and then add back what that percentage is. So for taxes, this is the amount that's added to a purchase total based on the state you are in. So New York, we have a tax depending on what you purchase of, let's say an item, it's usually like 8.6 and change. There's a 8.675% tax for sales tax, and then there's food tax that's added on to any service that you have when you go to a restaurant or order in food as well. Gratuity, or known as tip, you can hear those both ways. Gratuity, it's a percentage of the total based on the service, based on the services provided. So you can give a tip for delivery. You can give a tip for when you're eating out at a restaurant. So restaurant, takeout, delivery food. These are all things that you can possibly offer a tip for. Now, tax is usually added to the purchase total. Tip usually give to somebody and usually try and find that amount that's going to be given as a tip. So there's an importance of reading the question very carefully to find out what you're being asked to look for. So steps that you need to follow in order to find your tip. So your tip, you're going to use a sales amount. However the total is, let's say $20 for a lunch. Then you're going to multiply by the percentage that you're going to use as a tip. Or you're going to use it as decimal as well. And that's going to give you the total amount for tip, total tip amount in terms of money. Now what happens is the tip is usually calculated based on the original sales amount. You're going to also use that same sales amount that you want to find the tip for, and you're going to use that for your tax. So both of these are going to come off the same amount, that $20 that I originally said. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take that sales amount, you're going to multiply that by the tax rate. So depending on, again, what state you're in, you're going to take the tax rate, that percentage or decimal. You're going to multiply it. You're going to get the tax amount in terms of dollars. And I realize there's, okay, there we go. So that's step one when you're finding the tax. Like I said earlier, you want to make sure that you are taking your tax and adding it back to the original amount. So step two for finding your tax, you're going to take the sales amount, so you're going to take that sales amount, you're going to add that tax amount now in dollars, and then that is going to equal the total balance. The final after your tax is added. If you are asked to find the total bill including tax and tip, so you're going to see something that looks like including tax and tip, then you're going to take your total tip amount, you're going to take your sale amount, your tax amount, and then get the total balance all together. But there are sometimes parts of the question we're just going to ask you for the total balance, with or without tax, with or without tip. So you just have to read the question very carefully and find out what they are asking you to solve for. So let's try our guided practice questions. So our first question here, Patrick, is it, oh, it's supposed to be Bott. So it's Bott an iPad for $4.99. So that's important. With an 8.5 tax, you want to know the final cost of the iPad, including your tax. So here we have $4.99. You're going to multiply by the decimal 0.085, and you're going to get your tax value or tax amount, and that's going to be 42.415. And you want to remember always to round at the end. Okay, so that's really important. Always round at the end. So here we have $499 plus our 42.415. Our total that we're going to get is $541.415. So this is going to equal, in terms of dollars, now we will round to the nearest dollar. So we have $541.42 as our answer. Now, part of what I mentioned earlier in tax and tip being kind of a markup, I'm going to show you another way to do this. What we learned with markup is that you have 100% of something. And if you add that 8.5%, your total cost is going to be 108.5% of the original. So you're going to use that instead of having your 0.085, you're going to write $4.99 times 1.085, because you're using now this as your percent. You're going to get the total. You're going to get 541.415, and that gives you the total automatically. So you know again that your total for the iPad would be $541.42. So again, the first method is doing a little bit more work, but you're able to break it down. And then the second method is getting you right to that final cost. All right, so here's why it's important to read the question very carefully. Angela went to Mass with pizza. Her bill was $15.73. Important. She left a 20% tip. You want to know how much did she leave her waiter as a tip. So you're not finding the final balance, you're just finding the tip. So these two questions are very different. Here we're actually finding the final cost versus here where we're not. So for number 2, pause the video, try this one on your own, and check back after you're done. Okay, so for this one, we're given the total, which is $15.73. All we have to do is find the 20% tip. So 20% of $15.73, we're going to get 3.146, which remember, we're talking about how much money. So this would turn into 3.15. $3.15 is going to be your tip. That's 20% of the bill. All right, let's move to number 3. Number 3, Michael and his 3 friends are out at Applebee's. The total bill was $82.35. If they leave the server a 20% tip and there was an 8.65% tax, how much do they pay altogether? Now, if you go back to the notes, you want to first find the tip and the tax based on the same total amount. Then combine all of it together. So pause this video and try it on your own, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, we have the total bill, which is $82.35, and then we have both the tip, 20% tip, and we have 8.65 tax. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw a line down here. Okay, first thing I want to do is find the tax. Let's do tip. Okay, so for the tip, I'm going to use my $82.35. I'm going to tip 20%, so we know how to find that. So if we take our $82.35 and get 20%, we're going to get 16.47. Here we have $16.47 as a tip. Now I want to find out my tax. So I'm going to use the same amount, my $82.35. My tax is 0.0865%. So that total is going to be 7.123275. And remember, I'm going to round at the end. So what I'm going to do is take my total of 82.35. I'm going to add my $16.47 for the tip and my 7.123275. So again, my tip, my tax, this is the bill, and this is going to be my final bill. So I'm going to get 105.943275, and I would have $105.94 is my total bill. Now, here we have the different parts. Our bill, the tip, the tax, and we're combining it all together. So you would get $105.94. Okay, so make sure you identify your keyword or phrase. Make sure you're writing down any questions you have for me. Make sure you ask them in class. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.